Keep hope alive. We matter. We can make a difference. We can change the world. This world is our world. Let's hear it for Will on your feet. Let me hear you scream. There's a certain joy to be in Montreal yet again, because so much the greatness of this generation of our culture comes from what happened right here in Montreal. In 1946, there was this idea of African Americans and Caribbeans and Asians breaking through in professional athletics. And Jackie Robinson played in Montreal with the Royals before going to the Brooklyn Dodgers. It all began in Montreal. So a big hand for Montreal and breakthrough. Within the context of our being here today, February 1st, 1865, Abraham Lincoln put a resolution before the U.S. Congress to end 246 years of slavery. And this week, we're on our way to Selma, Alabama, where Dr. King marched for the right to vote, because 100 years later, we were able to get the right to vote 100 years later. It's because young people came alive. This coming Sunday will be the anniversary of the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. On that Sunday, there were no doctors, nor lawyers, nor judges on that stage. On that stage, there were no Hollywood actors or actresses on that. There were basically young people who assumed the burden to make democracy real for all people. Because of the blood young people shed, the deaths of Serena Goodman Cheney, 2 Jews and a black, the bloodshed of Valerie Luizzo, a white Italian-American mother who came south to help us, to call her nigger lover and blew her brains out, point-blank range. So red and yellow, brown, black and white, we died together that we might now live together. Because of the march in Selma, not only could blacks get the right to vote, but then women who couldn't serve on juries had a chance to serve on juries. Because we had farmers who couldn't pay poll taxes got a right to vote. Beyond that, 18-year-olds got a right to vote because 18-year-olds marched for the right to vote. We didn't stop there. We fight for students to have the right to vote on campus where they attend school. We didn't stop there. We got a chance to vote bilingual or multilingually. So whenever, young people come alive, we have the power to make democracy real. This world is our world. This world is like putty. We can shape it, mold it, and fix it. We must use our collective strength to make our world a better world, a world of peace and joy. We must end war now. We must make the air clean now. Make the water drinkable now. Learn to live together. Put your hands together like you really mean that. In so many ways, that generation fought for basic freedoms, the freedoms of African Americans to vote and Latino Americans to vote, for Native Americans, Aboriginal Americans to vote, and set loose a dynamic across the world. It affected Canada, it affected Europe, throughout the world. So now, human rights is the new standard of the world set by young people coming alive. But then, with our freedom and our passion, must come direction and priorities. Freedom does not matter if you abuse the freedom, if you don't use the freedom, if you freely self-destruct, because say we as people live lives full of choices and consequences. We can choose to be violent or non-violent, sober or drunk, mean or kind, We have the power to make choices. We are not puppets. We're people. We're free agents. We can make choices, but we cannot avoid living the consequences of our choice. I am free to leap off of the balcony. I am not free to avoid the consequences when I break my neck. Therefore, I must make right choices to get the right consequences. Put your hand together if you really mean that. I want to ask you, how many of you know someone in your school who has tried drugs? Stand. There's someone who has tried drugs. Stand.
Wait, someone who's tried drugs? Or...
You know someone who has tried drugs? Stand. Be seated. You know someone who has brought a weapon to school. Please stand.
Alex.
Be seated.
Yeah, that's scary shit.
You know someone who has been bullied. Stand.
Okay.
Be seated. Lastly, you know someone who has considered suicide. Stand. You know someone who has considered suicide. Stand. Be seated. Now, some people believe that we can stop this by getting more police or more guns, but you have the power to stop the drug flow. Because you at the market say, if I refuse to buy drugs, the drug dealer has to get a real job. I have the power if I change my appetite, I have the power to stop the drug flow. I have the power, not the police, not my parents. We have the power to stop the drug flow. And since we are the victims of the drug war, we must end the drug war and stop the drug flow and say, down with dope. Up with hope. Down with dope. Up with hope. Let me hear you scream. Just 2 days ago in Ohio, a young man apparently who has been bullied, the troubled life, shot and killed his classmates or his friends, his age group, because he could not negotiate his sense of consciousness and responsibility. But no doubt he'd been troubled somewhere along the way. Often the killing comes as an extension of our own sense of death. I must relate to my troubled classmate. Since drugs is an issue of our time. Since bullying is an issue of our time. Since weapons of destruction are issues of our time. Since bullying is an issue of our time and threatens my existence, I have an obligation to talk with my neighbor about how we can end the threat to our lives. The genius of this conference really is beyond say I am born an individual. I develop a healthy sense of I and me and mine. But I cannot survive without we and us. I live in community. If my neighbor's house is on fire and I'm innocent and I've done nothing to set the house on fire, the wind blows, I'm next. Therefore, my neighbor's security and my security are bound together. Life Ultimately, it's we and us, not just I and me and mine. Therefore, I must learn to live together with my brothers and sisters and not die apart as fools. Now, we have learned how to survive apart as whites, blacks, browns, Canadians, French. But say, in this world, there are no more foreigners. In this world, there are no more foreigners. So all of us are just a click away from everybody else in the world. In this world, there are no more foreigners. It's not enough to survive apart. We must live together. We have the power to make a better world right now. When I was a child growing up in poverty in South Carolina,